Hey, real quick, before we dive into today's episode, if you've been feeling like your brand needs a little love, but you're not quite sure where to start, I have just the tool you need. The Standout Brand Audit Bot is an AI-powered guided audit that shows you exactly what's working, what's not, and how to strengthen your brand using my proven Standout brand system. In 10 minutes or less, you'll walk away with clear next steps to move your brand forward with purpose. It's completely free. Just head to the show notes to grab the link and get started. I have spent a majority of my working life really dreading Mondays, and I bet you probably have too. I thought that would change when I quit my 9-to-5 and started running my own business, and I was very surprised and disappointed to find out that not only did it not change, it kind of got worse in a lot of ways. But after over a decade in the workforce and just under a decade running my business full-time, I have finally cracked the code and figured out exactly how to stop dreading Mondays every week. In fact, I actually look forward to them now. So if you are tired of the Sunday scaries and often find yourself thinking, I started my own business to work for myself so that I would love my job, and I still don't want to get up and start work on Monday morning, I've got some tips for you, and you are going to love this episode. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. I just want to start by acknowledging the fact that the Sunday scaries are very normal. Most business owners probably are not super excited to hop out of bed on a Monday morning. And even the ones who really love what they do still feel that dread of, I wish the weekend would go a little longer. I don't want to set my alarm on Monday. I don't want to find out what type of chaos awaits me this week. And frankly, feeling exhausted before the week even starts. A couple of years ago, I finally figured out the one thing to help myself stop hating Mondays. And it was so simple. I stopped doing things that I hate on Mondays. That's literally it. It sounds super simple, and really it is, but there's a little bit more to it than that. In this episode, we're going to talk about why we have been conditioned for our entire lives, starting all the way back in school, to dread Mondays, and why even when you leave corporate to start your own business, that does not go away. I'm going to talk you through the one super simple shift that I made that finally changed my perspective from dreading Mondays to really looking forward to them, and how you can design your own Monday that doesn't feel miserable. So for me, the first time that I really realized that I was experiencing the Sunday scaries, or that Monday morning dread that all of us know so well, was definitely in my corporate days. I think I felt it in, probably middle school, high school, college for sure. But I started to notice it in a way that really was affecting me during, no surprise, my corporate burnout era. I think when we're in corporate jobs, most of us deal with a bunch of meetings on Monday morning, catching up from stuff that we missed over the weekend, feeling like the grind is starting all over again. We had a great weekend and now we have to set our alarm for 5 a.m. and get dressed and go into the office and put on this show for our coworkers that is really, really draining. There are so many tropes about somebody's got a case of the Mondays, or, oh my gosh, this is the Mondayest Tuesday ever. It's a real thing. And so if you are experiencing that, I want you to know that it's not just because you're lazy or you need to grind harder or any of that. You are completely normal. And I think our society and our workforce especially has really turned Monday into the enemy. And it doesn't have to be that way. For me, when I left corporate, I was so excited to finally run my own business, obviously, but most importantly, have control over my own schedule. And I thought that would magically make all of those feelings about starting the week on Monday morning go away. And that's not what happened. I started my business because I wanted freedom and control and flexibility and to do something I loved and to not have somebody else bossing me around, frankly. But somehow that Monday dread never went away. And I can see in hindsight now, it's because I didn't actually change anything about the way I was working or the way I was approaching my week. So instead, I just replicated the corporate structure that I was used to because that's the only thing that I knew. So I would schedule important meetings first thing on Monday morning. I would not build any time for a slow start into my week. I prioritized my clients' needs over my own, and I made myself pretty much always available because I was hustling trying to build my business. So yes, I left the formal structure of the 9 to 5, but really I just created my own 9 to 5. I think it's a really important lesson for new business owners or business owners who are new to running their business full time, maybe, that you have to be really intentional about how you plan your days and your weeks if you want them to feel different from corporate. Otherwise, it's so easy to fall into the same trap of just doing what you've always done because you don't know any different. So then you go from having a terrible boss to being your own terrible boss. And that is not why we're here. So after probably like 3+ years of running my business this way, like just hitting the ground running on Monday morning and feeling exhausted for the rest of the week, I frankly just got sick of myself. I was so tired of starting the week feeling behind already. Like first thing at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, I had the whole week ahead of me and I already was beating myself up saying, I haven't gotten enough done. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do the things I want to do. I'm already behind. And that really sets the tone for not only the entire week, but any interaction I have with any clients, any of my team members. Everything I do in my business throughout the week is now clouded by this terrible feeling that started out on Monday morning. And that pattern gets miserable quickly. So then again, I would find myself on Sunday night, like putting off going to bed because once I went to bed, that meant that Monday was going to start and not wanting to set my alarm. And then it got to the point where I was sleeping through my alarm and snoozing for like an hour or 2 hours on Monday morning because I just could not motivate myself to start the day because I knew that what was ahead of me was not something I was looking forward to. And I had nobody to blame for that but myself. So finally, I started to really take a look at, okay, why do I feel this way every single Monday? What can I change that will maybe make me feel differently and more optimistic and more excited to start my work week? Because I really do love what I do, but it's just all this stuff hanging over my head and the mile-long to-do list that's really bumming me out, to be honest. Now, previously, I had been doing what we call a CEO day pretty much every single week. I would definitely skip one here and there, but basically weekly since I had gone full-time in my business. And historically, I had been doing them on Thursdays. Don't ask me why I picked Thursday. Could not tell you. But that was my day where I didn't take any client calls. I worked only on my own business. If I had like a personal thing I needed to do, I would typically do it on those days. And it really was kind of my business self-care day in a way where I got to just be selfish and do what I want to do and focus on me. And I didn't have to get dressed for any calls. I didn't have to worry about clients or scheduling or sticking to timelines. I could just do my own thing. So I knew that that was happening every Thursday, and those were my favorite days of the week. Conversely, when I looked at a typical schedule for Monday, I started out with a meeting with my VA at 9 o'clock in the morning, so like first thing. Then I typically had a couple of client calls. I would do 6-figure Brand Society office hours on top of having to catch up on all of the emails that came in through the weekend, planning out my content for the week because probably I didn't get around to doing it the week before, and just having so many things to do on that first day of the week. Now, at the same time, I was also learning about myself that being on a ton of calls is extremely, extremely draining for me. I have always known that I'm an introvert. I'm an only child. I could spend days alone without ever talking to another human, and I would truly be perfectly happy. So that wasn't news to me, but I think after a couple of years of running my business this way, it really hit me that, okay, if I have more than like 2, maybe 3 max hours of calls in the day, I am like physically tired for the rest of the day and into the next day. So why am I doing that every single Monday? Of course, I'm starting out the week feeling burnt out and behind and overwhelmed and like I'm never going to get anything done because I don't want to call it my least favorite task because I love connecting with my clients. I love meeting with my team. But the most mentally and emotionally draining task for me is the first thing I'm doing every week. That is insane. Now, I am a big proponent of the eating the frog concept, like get the things that you don't want to do out of the way so you can look forward to the things you do. I am all about delayed gratification. However, it started to click for me that that was a really unhealthy way for me to start my week. And when I looked at it objectively, it was easy for me to see, well, of course, this is ruining my week every single week. So what if I just didn't do that? And it started out with me making a decision of, okay, I'm just going to start by not taking any calls on Monday. I'll still do client work. I'll still email with people. I'll still do all my normal stuff, but just no calls. I'm going to close my calendar for Mondays. I will now take calls only Tuesday through Friday. And that quickly made a big difference. So at this point, this was kind of a half step, right? I was still doing client work, still communicating with clients, typically via Slack or email, but not having to feel like I was on immediately first thing Monday morning, not feeling like I had to be super prepared for things whenever I just came off the weekend where hopefully I wasn't thinking about work at all, and then just jumping into the grind first thing Monday morning. And that was really great and worked really well for a while. And then I started to think, okay, how can I make my Mondays even better? And what can I do on Mondays that would make me really excited about the week? So at this point, now that I'm not taking calls, I'm feeling pretty neutral on Mondays. I'm not dreading them. I'm not having anxiety. I'm not super stoked about it, but they're fine. Me and Mondays are doing okay. Now I want to know, okay, how can I get really excited about Mondays? And I realized that while of course I love working with my clients, working on client work, doing the design work, the thing that was really at that time, and still I would say lighting me up, was my CEO days. I loved working on my business. I loved creating marketing content. I loved updating my portfolio, organizing, cleaning things up on the back end, all of the stuff that a lot of us are oh, we don't have time to work on our business. That was all the stuff I was really excited about. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do my CEO day on Monday now instead of Thursday. The added benefit here was that probably half, maybe a little less than half the time, Thursday would roll around when I'm supposed to be doing my CEO day, and I would feel like I didn't have time to focus on my own business, I needed to prioritize client work. And so then, of course, as you know, my own business gets pushed to the back burner. By putting my CEO day on Monday, not only was I scheduling myself to work on things that I was really, really excited to work on, it also made it so that I couldn't skip it because I hadn't even looked at my client work to know whether or not I was going to feel behind that week or have too much to do. So by putting my CEO day and my own business very, very first thing in the week before I even open a client email, read a message from a client, anything, made it impossible for me to skip it, which really helped to grow my business because I was forced to prioritize working on my own business. So that has been probably about 2 years or so ago now that I've made that full shift from bombarding myself with client calls and just being so busy on Monday mornings and really dreading it, to first spacing out calls on Mondays, to second moving my CEO day to Monday. And now I'm pretty much still following that. I will say with a caveat, I do have calls with my VA every other Monday. But besides that, no calls, no client work. I am 100% focused on my own business on Mondays, and it has changed the game. It's so funny because my husband has more of a traditional 9 to 5 sort of. And every Sunday he's like, oh man, time to start another week. And is just not dreading it. He likes his job, but he's not excited about it. And I'm sitting next to him on the couch being I can't wait for Monday. I have so much exciting stuff to work on. We're going to do so many cool things this week. And it has really helped me to fall back in love with my business, to be honest with you. So these days, I'm spending Mondays working on marketing, content creation, my own brand strategy, developing new offers, cleaning up systems, more of the big picture thinking, not delivering work for clients or being on calls or clearing my inbox or putting out fires or reacting super quickly to requests, because those things, while they are important and they're a non-negotiable part of running my business, really start to drain me. And that is not how I want to start my weeks. I started my business because I want to be in control of my time, but more importantly, I want to be in control of how I feel while I'm working. And how I feel my best while I'm working is when I start the week slowly, I prioritize my own business first, and I don't do things I hate first thing during the week. Like I said, this has also been a game changer as far as staying consistent with marketing and content creation because I'm doing it first. And I will tell you, I have not missed a client deadline. I haven't had any clients leave because they feel like I'm not prioritizing them. Nothing has gone wrong. Everything has been fine. My business is running better because I'm taking the time to prioritize it. And I am happier running my business because I'm focusing on doing the things I like before I force myself to do the things that are maybe I still like, but are maybe a little more mentally exhausting. I am now less resentful of client work because I'm not running on an empty tank all the time. I don't feel like I'm having to be reactive and feel like behind the 8 ball because I know what's going on for the week and I'm not starting out the week feeling already behind. I lead my business more confidently. I'm more in control. And most importantly for my clients, I'm more creative because I have the brain space to think and I'm not stressed out and feeling behind all the time. Now, you'll notice I did not say, oh, I stopped hating Mondays by just taking Mondays off. I'm still working on Mondays. I'm still doing a lot of sometimes hard work on Mondays. I'm just working on the things that energize me instead of depleting me. So I still get to feel productive. I still get to feel like I'm moving the needle, but I'm just productive on my own terms and moving the needle in my own business instead of pouring into everyone else's and leaving nothing left for myself. I can confidently tell you that today, the Sunday scaries are not a thing for me because I am not dreading giving away my energy first thing every single Monday and then spending the rest of the week trying to play catch up. I look forward to working on my business, and I cannot wait to hop out of bed when my alarm goes off Monday morning. Doing things you like first thing during the week is the difference. And I think it's really important that we take advantage of the fact that, hey, we do run our own businesses. We get to make our own schedule. If we want to say, I'm not taking calls on Monday, then we get to say that. And if taking calls is something that really lights you up and energizes you, and you like to start your week out by being super social and connecting with all your clients, then do that. Figure out what works for you and do more of the things you love on Mondays so that you start your week out on a more energized and more positive note. And I promise that will carry you through the rest of the week. And since I know somebody out there is thinking this, oh, well, I don't work on Mondays. I work Wednesday through Saturday. Whatever the first day of your work week is, same rules apply. So my challenge for you is to take a look at the last few Mondays, what's been on your schedule, and how have you felt each of those days. And then ask yourself, is there anything that I could not do on Mondays anymore that would help free up some brain space and make me feel better going into the week? And then what things can I add that would really light me up and energize me and make me excited to work in and on my business first thing on a Monday morning? I know that the world tells us, oh, everyone hates Mondays. That's just how it is. But as a self-employed entrepreneur, you don't have to. You get to decide. You have built your business. You are allowed to design your day and your week exactly how you want so that you can feel good running your business. I legitimately look forward to Mondays now, and I want you to too. So if this has been an eye-opener for you, I would love to connect on Instagram and tell me, what are you going to change about your Monday schedule going forward? Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.